Doing YouTube is really kind of a lot more, there's a lot more involved than you think it is, but I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I hope that I impart some good information to you. I hope that you'll communicate with me regularly or leave suggestions for me. I appreciate so much. I had 10 subscribers yesterday, and that I really wasn't expecting that. And that means a great deal to me. Today I'm going to do some USDA Prime ribs, beef ribs I got from Costco. Again, I mentioned yesterday, if you're not using Prime, you're using Select or Choice or something from the local grocery store. I think if you step it up a little bit, I think you have a lot better results. And the USDA Prime stuff, while it's quality is way more than Select or Choice, you think about it this way, the statistic I always heard, is that 2% of beef is USDA Prime, everything else isn't. So if there's 100 cows out on a pasture, 98 of them are not Prime. So they go to a great deal of effort to separate this. USDA has a very specific rating scale that has to do with marbling and the meat content and the way the cows are raised and farmed and harvested and all those other kinds of things. So I'm going to show you a shot. The only thing I'm going to do differently, I'm going to put these on the big pit. One I'm going to slather, one I'm not. Slathering is basically putting a liquid kind of fluid on there, liquid fluid, anyway, to make the rub adhere. The rub we're going to use is really simple. It's going to be half kosher salt, half fresh ground peppercorn, and that's what Aaron Franklin uses. And I've found that when you do that, the meat is really the star. Not covering it up with a bunch of things that are going to obscure the taste of it. So I'm going to pause just a moment. I'm going to show you a picture of the meat before, and then I'm going to show you a picture of the meat after I have it seasoned and cleaned and so forth, and I'll be right back at you. This is what we're cooking today. This is on the left, some beef chuck ribs, and on the right, these are USDA Prime beef ribs from Costco. They're both, these are short ribs, and these are basically short ribs, but they're a little bit longer. These are kind of what you'd see like caveman use or Fred Flintstone use. Anyway, so I'm going to pause a moment and clean these up, show you them all seasoned, and then right now we're just waiting for the grill to come up to temp, and then we're going to put them on there and see what happens. Thanks, folks. All right, I've got these cleaned, slathered one side. This side, as you can see, is a different color. I used Louisiana hot sauce to do that. I'm going to show you how to light an alternative way to light your big pit. And normally I use charcoal, probably a half of a chimney starter full or even more than that. Today I'm going to do it a little differently. I'm going to use one of our Weber fire cubes, and I'm going to try to do it that way and see what happens. I did this last week instead of my usual way, and I had the same result. It was a lot neater. I didn't have to mess around with the chimney starter. So without further ado, I'm going to show you how we do that. I've got some wood I bought in Colorado, and that's the two little pieces. There's another big piece of post oak right on top of it, and I'm going to start the little pieces like kindling, and then the fire will go up, of course, and ignite the big piece. I'm going to let my fire mature till my big pit gauge gets to about 250 or somewhere in that ballpark. Once it gets to temp, we have our nice clear smoke like we like, then on goes the meat. I'm not entirely sure that this method will work, but I'm going to give it a try anyway. So if it doesn't work, no harm done. So we'll let this burn for a little while. I'll keep an eye on the lid, make sure we don't have an out of control fire, but right now it looks like it's catching along pretty well, and I'll be back with you in a few. Here's where all the magic happens. When I got this, it was pretty much shiny steel inside. I can't remember who it was. I think it was Greg at Ballistic, or it may have been T-Roy, but they said to use peanut oil to season the inside, so I rubbed this whole big giant down in peanut oil. If you look at the lid, I put Lavalock tape on there to seal it. I wish I would have done it before I cooked in it, because it did have a few little leaks which made liquid come out of it, which kind of made it not as pretty, but now that I have it, it's fine. The Livalock seals it all the way around, and once we close the lid on this thing, it's pretty snug. So anyway, I'll be right back. I'm gonna go get the meat and we'll be cooking. All right, I've got our meat on our grill. We've got the slathered stuff here. Non-slather, non-slather. I may have to move these around. I'm not sure how they're going to cook. They take several hours to cook. Big beef ribs. I've got ThermoWorks smoke, and I've got the ThermoWorks transmitter over here. They are wireless. I've got the probe in for pit temp right here. Then another probe in one of the slabs of ribs. So right now our smoke is almost invisible. That's what I wanted. Again, I'm going to close the pit down and see you in a little while. Thanks. For the serious cooking enthusiast, I strongly recommend you get digital read thermometers. I've tried many of them. This is the ThermoWorks Smoke. It has a remote monitor that you can carry away up to 300 feet and still see your pit temps. Sorry, out of view there. And I love it. I've had it, like I said, I've had a couple. This thing is heavy. It's robust. It's got a magnet on it. I usually stick it on the front. Thus, got one probe for the pit temp, one probe for the meat. And anyway, now I've just got to sit around and wait while I edit that video I shot yesterday. Thanks so much for watching. Bye. We're a couple hours into our cook right now. I appreciate you taking the time to watch me on my SteenSmokeHouse video. Want you to observe the smoke is still nice and clear. This pit has been amazing. I really couldn't be happier with it. I'll take you for a tour around there. I said earlier I wish I would have put the Livalock tape on it when I got it. Nothing wrong with the pit itself. Nothing seals perfectly, but now there's no leaks. If you look at the top of the door, you can see where it used to run down. That was like the first or second cook. I've had this thing a couple months now. I think I've done 10, 11 cooks with it. It's really splendid. It really couldn't be any better, in my opinion. I had to add a drain to it right here. It came with a pipe, and I started shopping around to see what I could put at the end of the pipe. It's actually 1-inch pipe thread, and they're real expensive. In my opinion, real expensive, like $80, $90, $100 for a ball cock kind of thing like that. I went to Ace Hardware, and it cost me about $20, and it does exactly what I need it to do, which is let stuff drip. So anyway, be back at you soon. As you can see, these things are actually cooking a little bit quicker than I expected. Like I said earlier, the character of these things being these big pits, changes. They become more insulated. They become basically like an iron skillet, and they retain heat a lot better. The ones we use a slather on are in the center. The ones we didn't are on the edges, and now they kind of look the same. I don't know that it's going to make any difference, but it was kind of an experiment. I wanted to see how it was. Probably another hour or so, I'm going to wrap these in butcher paper and put them back in. So I'll see you then. Thanks. Hey folks, these are technically pretty close to being done. One thing I do like to do is finish them in butcher paper. I learned that secret from Aaron Franklin. It's not cheating, it's not a crutch. It's just something that kind of lets the juices all kind of blend together. And when we get these off here, they're going to be like meat candy. They're going to, I say fall off the bone, everybody says fall off the bone, but they're going to be very tender. They're going to be very rich inside. As you know, we started out with USDA prime meat, and prime meat is prime meat. So what I'm going to do now is wrap it in butcher paper, put a layer of aluminum foil around it, and then I'm going to put it back on the grill, and then probably let it sit there for an hour or so, and then we're going to pull it off and eat it. It's all wrapped up nicely. I'm going to take it back out of the pit and throw it on for probably another hour or so, but I promise you, you're going to like the end result. So, when we cook on one of these big pits, I'm pretty confident that the results are going to be good, but I'm going to cut it up on my cutting board and see what you think. I don't really think Fred Flintstone had ribs like this ever. They're extremely juicy. They're cooked perfectly. And I'll be proud to serve them to some friends tomorrow. I can't tell which were the ones that were cooked with the slather or not, but I can guarantee you every single one of these is perfect. Just for grins, I'll cut one of these off. Let's do another one. There you have it, folks. That's those are beef ribs. If you've never had beef ribs that were tender like this is your chance to change your cooking style and make them that way. Thank you so much. Please give me a thumbs up if you like it. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.